So I was really surprised recently to come across a study that I had never heard of, and shout out to Dr. Bill Campbell. If you're not following him on Instagram, I highly recommend you do so. He was my professor for my course at USF called The Science of Weight Management, and in my opinion is one of the leading researchers when it comes to more physique-based research. But he made this post about a study that was actually published back in 2003 that looked at diet breaks, but not in the way that you would think. In fact, they were thinking it was going to be a negative thing, but I'll talk more about that later in the video. First, I want to talk about why I wanted to shoot this video, because my argument for diet breaks, while I certainly think that there are benefits hormonally and metabolically, a lot of people argue against that and say there is no metabolic benefit and then it just delays things and there's no point whatsoever. But my argument is, even if there was no metabolic benefit whatsoever to diet breaks, which again, I don't agree, I think there is, but for the sake of argument, let's say there isn't, to me, diet breaks are still really beneficial, if for no other reason to help break up the monotony of a diet, to help you enjoy some more food for a while, to help you feel less hungry, to give you more energy, to make you feel less agitated, to just kind of make you feel better in general, and probably help you feel less restricted, because let's be honest, a lot of the times when you end up giving up on a diet is because you feel like it's just too restrictive and you can't handle it anymore. And if you can occasionally get these benefits, even with no hormonal and metabolic benefit, you can see how this can help you stick with the plan and be able to get where you want to be in the long run. And if you couple in the fact that you may actually get some improvements in your hormones and metabolism, well then, what an amazing thing it can possibly be. As I say all the time, the what to do when it comes to your fitness goals is only part of the equation. In fact, I argue the mental side is not only every bit as important, but I argue even more important. And to me, the study I'm about to talk about helps reaffirm this. The interesting thing to me about this study is all the other studies we've looked at to date, they were basically done as a way to see how taking diet breaks can actually help you and possibly even get you better results. Well, this study was done thinking that taking breaks would actually contribute to relapsing and falling off plan and would actually be a negative thing. And hey, I liked where their head was at with this, because relapsing is a huge problem. People lose weight all the time. Very few people ever keep it off, and falling off plan with a relapse is a very common problem, probably all a little too familiar. So what they did was they had 3 different groups, a control group who dieted all the way through, and then 2 different diet break groups. One group took a 6-week break in the middle, whereas another group took 3 2-week breaks spread throughout the time. And what the researchers thought would happen was, by taking these breaks and getting off plan, they'd have a hard time getting back on plan and would end up relapsing. I would assume, figuring by stopping the plan, they would kind of lose that momentum and having a hard time getting started again. But they were shocked to find their assumption was wrong, and the diet break groups were able to get back on their diet again after and continue to diet successfully. And while the diet breaks produce a slowing of weight loss or even some slight weight regain from the breaks, weight loss actually wasn't significantly different between the 3 groups in the long run. So while the authors said, and I give them credit for this because it went against their hypothesis, they went on to say this study was not successful in developing a method to experimentally produce weight loss relapses. However, the finding that prescribed breaks do not have adverse effects may have clinical application. So who knows? Maybe this is actually what kind of triggered some of the more recent research that's coming out, especially the 2-week on, 2-week off diet break study that kicked things off and showed the benefits there can be to taking diet breaks, not only for during the process, but especially controlling weight regain after the diet. Now, one thing I do want to note about this study, and remember, this wasn't really done as a means to use diet breaks to help. So while what I usually recommend now when we're talking about diet breaks is, okay, you eat around maintenance calories, you continue with your strength training, you can possibly reduce some of your cardio activity or possibly even altogether, but you usually keep doing at least some. In this study, during the breaks, they were told to stop all weight loss efforts, which when you think about it, it makes it all the more incredible that things went as well as they did. And in my mind, it actually shows even more so how important the mental benefits to taking breaks can be. And you kind of have to wonder if the difference here is having a planned break versus a true relapse where you fall off plan, you start to feel bad or guilty, you kind of spiral out of control and have a hard time getting back on plan, there might be something even more to that. And once again, that could show how there can be the mental benefit of having those planned breaks. And to me, this at least partially shows why in the other types of diet breaks we've looked at, that people did in fact retain weight loss better post-diet, probably because they didn't feel so dang restricted and beat down at the end. And like I said, weight regain is a big problem. And if we can take some methods to help transition into the weight management period post-weight loss, well, that's worth its weight in gold. And that to me is what diet breaks can do for you. So please don't look at diet breaks as some sort of setback. They're not. And in fact, they could be the very thing that allows you to finally get where you want to be and keep that weight off in the long run. Now, if you want to see the video that I did previously, looking at a couple different studies and breaking down the differences between them and how diet breaks may or may not be as helpful as we thought, check out this top video. Otherwise, if you're not sure how to take diet breaks, you can check out this bottom video instead, and I'll walk you through everything step by step, and I'll see you next time.